turn these on. Okay. Installation kit. Okay, well, I think my audio cut out a while back there, but I'm going to transition to my phone just to go wide angle here and show you a little bit inside the tent. And then I think it's going to be bedtime. Okay, maybe this shows it a little bit better, but here is the foam layer up. You can see it kind of comes in a little bit, maybe 2-3 inches. I think I could tuck that under there, which is what I did over here. Just got the light on my Anchor battery. I'm going to be using this to run my heated blanket, just pulling about 110 watts right now, so that should last us the whole night. 7.4 hours remaining of runtime, so we should be good. All right, well, I got it all set up. I think we're gonna be pretty warm here. See everybody in the morning. Well, the wind is really brutal this morning. I'm not filming right when I woke up. Basically, my electric blanket died around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it quickly set in how cold it was out here. I'll show up on the screen what my phone showed, but it was like -10, and it feels like about -20. All right, it's pretty close quarters up here, but I'll do my best to kind of film. So, got the anchor here running my electric blanket. I had that on high the whole night, and we've got the insulation kit up here. So it's just a foam insert that you stick right up there on that. And for some reason my audio's gone bad, so I'm just using the internal mic, so hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, oh my gosh, it's so cold out. I had my sleeping bag, which granted isn't a winter bag, but 1 down blanket, 2 down blanket, 3 down blanket, and my pillow. And then I had another packing blanket at my feet just in case. And then I ran this little circulating fan, just hoping that would help keep the moisture down. And I ran the fan on the roof. But I noticed that the ceiling was a little frosty this morning, but I think it's all thawed and gone away now. You can still see though the T-channel along the top is super frosty, and it's so cold out it's probably not gonna thaw for a while. And so yeah, that's kind of my experience here. I'll do a final kind of breakdown back home because it's just so cold out here. So I just wanted to show this. And yeah, I'll leave the insulation kit in here because maybe I can show more at home too. But I just wanted to show it all before I tear it down. Here's another little angle at this too. Like I've got, this is the insulation kit. So the backside you can see kind of has this foam, and you can see how it basically hangs in between here. It's about the same thickness as this fabric, but just a little spongier. I don't know, maybe that's not exactly accurate, but one thing that's crazy is this fabric is so stiff with it being cold. So yeah, not too bad, but it was cold last night, and without my electric blanket I would have been screwed. I needed some sort of heat source. All right, well, we're back here in my garage, and I just kind of want to close out the video with some final thoughts and talk a little bit about the insulation kit. So typically when you insulate any sort of space, like if that's your house or your tent or wherever, you're trying to prevent as much warm air or cold air from leaking out of the space depending upon how you're wanting to condition it. In this particular situation, I feel like I wasn't producing enough warm air, and there was still too much leakage around this insulation kit because it's not a perfect barrier, that it's still just going to leak out air. And so that's kind of one thing that I think is important to note here is, like, at certain cold temperatures, the cold air is going to be overpowering. And also just depending upon how you heat the tent, you know, in my particular case, just using my body heat and the electric blanket just wasn't enough. So you kind of have to spec out everything appropriately for it to be comfortable. But one thing I just wanted to see was like, oh, well, is this insulation kit like going to be absolutely crazy and keep me warm? And I don't think that was the case. So just using this insulation kit with different product is probably important. So probably the biggest use case here that came to my mind is you could use the insulation kit in addition to a diesel heater. And diesel heaters are pretty efficient, but after using mine for a couple nights, if you run them for a long time, they will run out of gas. So if you use the kind of stock gas tank they come with, they will run out of gas. And so I could see this insulation kit being really useful or valuable because it might help to prevent your diesel heater from running on a higher setting and therefore being more efficient. So that's something that I think I'd like to try more in the future. But the insulation kit is really awesome for sound. I was really impressed. One thing I think is like a side benefit of this insulation kit is just keeping everything sound deadened in the summer. So one thing I'm kind of curious to try is if this will maybe even keep out heat or just sound deaden if you're in a campground that's a little bit on the louder side. One thing that was really spooky about camping on the ice is all of the groaning and noises from the ice itself. And that's something that I wasn't really anticipating. And there was a bit of crackling and other thing from some of the trees nearby. And all those noises were extremely muffled by the insulation kit. So I thought that was pretty cool and kind of like a nice side benefit here. So just the insulation kit isn't maybe just for warmth, but also could very much so be for sound. Yeah, so that was kind of some of my experience. The camping was so cold. I just wanted to see if the insulation kit was going to stand up on its own, and if, you know, maybe it made a world of a difference for warmth. And you wouldn't know that unless you did what I did. So that's kind of what I wanted to try. And I think it on itself is not going to be totally self-sufficient. You're going to need other heat sources as well. And that's maybe, you know, the case for the super cold temps like I was camping in, of like -20 and below. But if you're somewhere maybe in Europe, or, you know, you are in the mountains and you have some sort of more stable, moderate kind of winter where it's nice snow and it's in the 20s, you know, maybe the insulation kit actually would be a difference maker for you. So I still got to do a little bit more testing, but the sound deadening of it for sure is pretty impressive. So yeah, and then kind of just moving on from the sound insulation kit in general, I'm going to be doing a little bit more videos on a diesel heater and kind of showing that. So stay tuned for that. And I think also just kind of like a last thing, I mentioned in the video that there was quite a bit of moisture buildup on the inside. And I'll show this a little bit in a future video, but you've probably heard me geek about the fabric on these tents. And one thing I learned from James Brown is they said that, you know, based on the whole technology where you waterproof the fibers themselves as opposed to the coating, that allows them to sort of take advantage of different types of materials. So this is like a 3-layer fabric system, and so the exterior layer is what is waterproof coated but still allows air to pass through but not water, but then on the inside the fabric is actually absorbent. So their goal here is that if there's higher moisture in the air, that it will actually absorb to the walls and kind of get them a little bit wet, as opposed to the air itself being high humidity. And so then, you know, when you're not sleeping or during the day or something, you can run a fan or something of that sort with all the windows open, and you can air it out and it will then dry out that fabric. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's a nice other design feature that you just typically don't see in fabric. And like, that's one of the big reasons why people love James Brown tents, is like, you're not just buying their particular shape or the fiberglass design, or in my case, this sort of lighter weight ABS design. You're also buying into basically all of their history in doing fabric work. And fabric work is really impressive, and it's not the easiest thing to do. And so there's a lot of engineers out there like myself who maybe would be good at building a enclosure for a tent, but not the fabric, you know. And that's what I'm running into with my DIY tent, you know. So yeah, something to think about, something I thought was kind of cool, just because there's moisture on the inside of the tent. doesn't mean it's actually a flaw. It might be there for a purpose. All right, well, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I've got some other winter content coming, so I'm going to be trying to post here fairly consistently for about the next month. So stay on the lookout, because I should have a video coming next week on Monday, and then another couple videos following that. So I have been really inconsistent about posting, but I'm going to be posting a couple videos here pretty shortly. So stay on the lookout, keep your eyes peeled. I try to post on Mondays or Thursdays if I am going to post, so just watch for that. Alrighty, thanks for the support. I'll catch you all in the next video.